Wait and see if we're on here, which it looks like I am. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my live stream here today. It is Thursday, September the 16th. I think I got that date right today. It's been a couple days since I've been on. I'm looking forward to a full night, hopefully, of some radio here. Hopefully some guys will pop out here. Just a little word of warning if I might take off a little early tonight, depending on how I feel. I haven't been feeling quite good. It's not COVID, just to let you know. So, anyways, if you're new to the stream, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I go on about 2 or 3 days a week, doing some live streaming on here on YouTube on 144/250 upper sideband for ham radio, basically rag chew. So, just get to it. See if anybody's on frequency here.
Kilowatt 6 Echo Golf monitoring 144/250 upper sideband, City of Chino. Hey Keith, how you doing, man? Long time no talk.
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Just kind of hanging out. Just got done with some dinner with the family, and got the evening off tonight and tomorrow evening off. So I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Oh, there you go. Great. Yeah, I got tomorrow and then on the weekend.
You got the little rascals back in class yet?
Oh, yeah, this is my, what is it, third or fourth week with the kids.
Oh, I thought that you weren't going to have students for a little bit.
No. We started back in mid-August. 1 week of just trainings and this, that, and the other. Then school with the kids started. The first week when the kids were back, I didn't start, but the second week with the kids back, that's when I started. So this is, I think, the end of my third week tomorrow with the kids.
Are they holding up pretty good right now?
Yeah, they're hanging in there. And this is the end of my fifth week already, school-wise. So, yeah, they're doing fine.
Oh, you getting ready for Christmas break already? We're 100 days away.
No, I'm not. But it's still a couple months away, like you said, yeah. But I might not have a holiday program to deal with, which actually makes my life easier.
Oh, I can only imagine why.
Yeah, we can't have big crowds inside the multi-purpose room, so it looks like, and we're not going to do it outside in the dead of winter, because you just never know what to expect, so it looks like I might get to slide to a spring concert instead later on in the year.
That's a bummer for the kids, but at least it's going to be a little easier on you.
I think it's more of a bummer for the parents.
Has it been busy out here lately?
Yeah, not bad. You know, I've been kind of going back and forth between here and HF and stuff like that.
And since I'm asking 20 questions here, did you get to hook up your new amplifier, most importantly?
I hooked it up, and I was having some challenges with it 2 days ago, but yesterday I think I dialed in and I was having a lot more success. But I'm having an issue where I'm bleeding over the wife's TV, so I got to kind of resolve that matter, so I'm going to be able to use it.
Oh boy, she's going to be watching her Netflix, and you're going to be coming across her speakers.
Yeah, it's already happening on the TV, so probably this weekend I'm going to try choking the TV, the coax cable, the TV power line, blah, 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 and see if that will resolve it. I hope so.
Just have Fred come over there and choke everything out.
I got chokes. I know what to do.
Kilo Oscar 6 November.
Hey, guys. We got Greg out there and his Keith.
Very good, very good. Yeah, I just heard your last comment. You need some radios on that TV.
Some radios, so we'll pick it up more?
Well, you know, if it's grounded, maybe they'll just, be sucked into the radio system. Who knows?
More affected or less affected?
I don't know. I'm just saying, But yeah, have you tried disconnecting the cable from the TV to see if that the distortion still comes in?
I haven't tried any of that stuff. I'm going to just wait till Saturday, the weekend, where I really just have time to mess with it, you know. She's using TV right now, stuff like that, so I don't want to, mess her up. So I'll just wait till the weekend where I have some time to really dive into it. Getting into all that stuff, it's in a kind of a cabinet type thing. It's going to be a little bit of extra work on my part, so it's not going to be a 5-minute chore.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I had some, back in Florida, I had some cable TV problems, and, if it turns out to be coming in through the coax to the TV, it's probably not grounded somewhere properly. Either the cable's not grounded or some type of box isn't grounded. But anyway, you have to play around with it, so it's going to be a trial and error. What's going on, Greg? You been driving into Orange County at all?
I have. I was there this afternoon, or this morning, and a little bit this afternoon. By the way, you just right at the end of what you were asking me about Orange County, you just slid off. Kind of weird, but I was still able to pick you up there a little bit. Yeah, I've been down to San Diego, down to Orange County this whole last week. I'm in LA the next, not tomorrow, but the next 2 mornings, and then that's it for Los Angeles. I have booked till end of October at this point, so then it's back to Orange County after that.
Sounds good. Hey, I got the issue of QST for October, and in that column, the world above 50 megahertz, they mentioned an awful lot of record-breaking contacts on 2 meters and 6 meters. But they only went up to the mid part of July, so I don't know, maybe next month. But apparently there were a lot of really good contacts on 2 meters, and they were blaming it or saying it was caused by a lot of moisture getting up into the upper atmosphere, and some meteors were ionizing the moisture or the ice crystals or something like that. So that whole thing about 2 meters in New Hampshire may actually be right.
I hope so. That would be cool. Love to see if they put your callers on any part of the contact list.
You kind of dropped off the whole contact list.
I was hoping that, if they do something, your call letters end up on some sort of the contact list that that person made. Because I know you made some good contact as well as Fred, I believe, correct?
That's right. Fred, Tony, and Dale. I think the other guys involved, yeah.
Dale is always on 5, too. I heard him the last couple mornings, and I heard him late at night, too, I think, the other night.
He calls a lot on 446 too, so yeah, he's there. I've heard him a lot more lately, and his audio's been sounding pretty good too.
Yeah, he's got a great station. I heard him up in when I was driving to Vegas last year. I heard him all the way up to I think it's Summit. I'm forgetting the name of it. Summit Pass or something like that. It's just before or right after Baker. Right on top of that ridge, I heard him kind of wave in just for a second, and then I popped back out.
That Quaggy stuff he's got is pretty good, really good. I was tuning around on 17 meters, and there was a guy in Panama. He was a Canadian expat, and he was coming in pretty good. I tried calling him, but he had a whole bunch of stations calling him, but I guess he had his beam pointed towards the Midwest. So I couldn't get through to him, so I just gave up after a while.
Yeah, you kind of faded out right there. I heard what you said. It was conditions are getting weird right now. Maybe the change of seasons or whatever.
Yeah, you were fading out a couple of times too, so I don't know what's happening. I'm putting out 80 watts right now. So yeah, who knows what? Maybe who knows? I don't know. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm gonna hold back on that.
I got you, man.
Hey, Dave, quick question for you. I would like to take all the tubes for this linear and check them all out just to know where I stand. You know any place that has like a tube tester?
Yeah, I remember, gosh, I remember reading about a place that had a tube tester not too far away. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on that. Yeah, let me try and figure that one out tomorrow.
All right, yeah, no big hurry. I like to have them tested just to see where I stand, see if there's any weak tubes or whatever, or if I need to put a whole brand new set in, so I just can start from scratch, knowing everything's good and everything. But if all four of them read fine, then I'll hang loose for a little bit.
The guy that you bought it from, did he say anything about what the condition of the tubes was?
Well, I bought it from a person that got it from a silent key. He's friends of the family, and he's a ham operator, so he's helping out the widower to sell it. So he doesn't know a ton about it, I guess. But, I mean, from what I can see, they look okay.
Yeah, it could be a mixed bag, maybe the guy wasn't using the amp, unless you actually take the equipment out of that silent key shack, you really don't know what condition it was in. There was one time I was looking at a silent key shack, and the person who was handling it wanted an awful lot of money for everything. And when you walked in, he had like a hole in the window where all the coax was coming in, and there was a layer of dust and leaves in the shack, and the person was claiming that everything worked because he used it every day. So I just kind of backed out of that one.
I would have done the same. Yeah, I mean, this one looks pretty clean and everything, but I want to figure out how old it is approximately too, and just get a little bit more information on it. The guy that sold it to me, which is Henry, he said he keyed it up. He didn't drive or anything, but he just wanted to see if it keyed up. He said it keyed up to like 300, 350 watts. I was curious, kind of myself, why didn't you go ahead and key it up to 500 or 600 watts to see if everything's fine? But anyway, I want to just know where I stand with this whole thing,
Yeah, Roger. Now, if you look at the tubes, if they're American-made, they're probably really old tubes. So that's one thing to consider. And, if you can find the place... I used to have a tube tester, but in a move, when we moved from California to Florida, I lost the tube tester. So, but I might know somebody who has a tube tester. Let me do some snooping around tomorrow.
All right, yeah, great. Sounds good. Back to you, Greg.
I got nothing.
I got to take a phone call real quick.
Yeah, Greg, so that launch that happened on Sunday, my daughter, she lives up in Thousand Oaks. She had a really good view of that launch. The SpaceX launch. Remember that? The SpaceX launch, the rocket that took off on Sunday?
I think that was actually Monday, I believe, right?
Yeah, maybe it was Monday. That was so long ago. But like I said, my daughter, she had a really good view of it.
I know I'm feeling you, dude. This morning felt like 2 days ago, so... Yeah, I was hoping I don't know if you watched that rocket launch on YouTube yesterday or whenever day, I think it was yesterday. It took off like about an hour after sunset, and when it got to the upper atmosphere, it made a jellyfish looking object in the sky from the propulsion system, which I was hoping that Monday's launch would have done, but it was about an hour and 45 minutes after sunset, I believe. So I guess the sun was too far over the horizon to illuminate the leftover propulsion, whatever, to make that jellyfish look.
Yeah, I saw that launch. I watched it, and yeah, I did see that jellyfish type thing. That was pretty cool. I mean, those launches, rocket launch will never get old.
No, and if that rocket launch got delayed, it would have been delayed till Monday, and I was actually going to fly out there this weekend and try to watch it go off, because I've been really, one of my goals was to watch a manned rocket launch or space shuttle launch ever since I was little, and I haven't been able to time it yet. So this is the second closest I've gotten to this. So maybe next time. I think there's another one in October.
All that time I spent in Florida, I could have driven over to the Cape and watched the launch, but I never did, for all those 7 years. So, we hired, where I was at Boeing, we hired a lot of guys from the Cape. So, oh well, I guess that's just one of the things you got to chalk up to the past.
All right, I'm back. Hey, real quick, on those tubes, one of them says Amatron on it, and it's stamped China. And the three other ones look identical to the other ones, but have no markings on it whatsoever. So there you have it.
All right, so the ones that have no markings on it probably were made in the USA. So probably what happened, those could very well be the original tubes, and one of the tubes, messed up, crapped out. And he replaced it with recently with an Amatron tube that, that was made in China.
Yeah, that's a very good point, I'm trying to get how old this is. It's a 26,000 series, so I have a feeling it's less than 10 years old, but I could be wrong.
Just plug in Amatron serial number production date or something like that and see what comes up. You might be able to get some idea. You might be able to call up Amatron and ask them directly. Just call them up and say, hey, this is my serial number. When was it manufactured?
Yeah, I've tried both. I tried going online trying to get some information. I saw nothing. I've tried calling Amatron like 3 different times, and the one time they were already closed. I called them today and just rang and nobody answered. That was about 2:30. I don't know if they're 3 hours difference or just 2 hours difference, but I heard that if I were to call them or maybe even email them, maybe they'll be happy to give me that information. So I'll just keep trying.
Yeah, emailing them might be better, but I guess Ameritron isn't trying.
Ameritron what?
Ameritron isn't trying very hard.
There you go.
I got to step out of here for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll be back in a little bit. I got something I got to do before the sun sets, so I'll catch you later. K6EGG.
All righty. So, Greg, now that I think it's the last time I talked to you was the day that we had the launch going on.
Yeah, that was Monday. It felt like last week, though.
Monday, okay, so that was 3 days ago. All right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I went outside and got to check it out and stuff like that, so it was pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, if I lived in Florida, I'd probably be at that beach every night. They have a rocket launch. They have one there about every 2 weeks, I think. There's one there on Thursday, I think.
Often, every 2 weeks.
SpaceX or ULA. I think ULA is like once a month, maybe, or once every like 6 weeks. But SpaceX they're pumping those babies out.
I didn't know that. Wow. How close can you get? Like a mile away or even closer?
I think like 4 or 8 miles away. I can't remember.
Okay. So 4 to 8 miles away, you don't have to worry about earplugs or something, right? It's not too loud 4 or 8 miles away.
I don't know. I haven't been for one.
I just figured you knew what was up. You're pretty into this thing. I'm not.
Years and years ago, I worked a rocket launch out of Vandenberg for Boeing, and it was like super top secret. We weren't allowed to talk about it at all till, I don't know, I probably can't now because it was in the 90s, but we were not that far away, and I can't remember it being that loud, but I remember that I could smell it as it went over us.
Okay. Were you working for a company that you were involved with to do that?
Yeah, it was Boeing.
Boeing, okay. There you go.
We did a couple pretty cool things. I know when I think they made the F-22 or the F-35. I can't one of the two. When they were going for the contract, we were allowed in to film them making it, and we had to go through security checks and sign our life away and not mention it. And we got put in a van with no windows and driven out to somewhere in the desert to go look at it.
Oh, how weird. That must have been trippy. How long of a drive was it with no windows?
We drove out to Palmdale, and it's probably 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. Yeah, it was for somebody being 22 years old at the time. Actually, no, I was probably like 20. I mean, I wanted to tell everybody what I saw, and I couldn't.
So it's very secretive.
Not now, but back then, yeah. They're like, don't. I just didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
The rocket launch was the same thing, and I was living with my parents at the time, and they were like, well, where are you going? I go, well, working for Boeing. And they're like, where at? I go, I'm staying in a hotel. Because they had us booked for like a week in case it got delayed.
Oh, really?
Kilo Oscar 6 November.
Yeah, go.
Hey, I'm in my mobile unit. I got my 7100 here. Hey, Greg, can you hear me?
You're waving in and out, but I definitely have you. You got me?
You're coming in. You're like only around S1. But, yeah, this is my 7100 and my mobile parked in front of my house.
You're definitely readable.
You sound really clean here.
Okay, just jump the power up to 100%. Is that any better, Greg?
You're not waving as much, but you're still readable. You don't have much of a signal. You could definitely go back on YouTube and check it out as well.
I'll have to check that out, but I sound clean to you, Keith?
Yeah, but I think you just hit your VPO.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, I was just wondering if I could make it, but yeah, that little 5/8 wave on 2 meters does pretty good.
Yeah, you're gonna be with an S9, with no preamp on, and now you fixed you sound like you're back on target. But that sounds good. I don't know if I've heard you on the 7100 before. I've heard you on that 50, is it the 51? I've heard you on the 7100 forgetting.
Yes, it was a 5100 that I had in my car before, so I just put this thing in a couple of weeks ago. I've had some time operating with it. Well, I haven't done any long trips or anything. I guess I'll have to find out how to take it together and try different contacts.
Well, that's what I'm using these days in my car is the 7100, and I've been happy with it. Got it.
I hope he has enough ground radios on his antenna.
Run some wires off it.
I missed my button. Has Fred been out here?
I spoke to Fred coming home from work today, but I haven't. You're the first one I've actually spoke on to it since I've been in the shack this evening. I've been kind of working in the shack trying to do some things with my setup. I've had the radio on, but I had it on kind of low. I never heard anybody till you came on. That's when I came in. Are you just hanging out right now, Greg, on the radio?
Just hanging out, doing some web surfing. Kind of out of it. I had kind of a late night last night, and I had to get up at 5 this morning, so not 100%. I'm a little bit foggy right now.
Would you mind if I gave you a quick phone call?
Yeah, because I don't have my phone with me.
All right, no worries. I'll do it another time.
If you can give me about 2 minutes to go grab it, I can take it.
Okay with you. If it's not good timing, that's fine too.
Sure. Give me a minute. I'll be right back, and I'll let you know when I get to my phone. All right, Keith, go for it.
All right, give me a second.
Hello, everybody. Sorry to take care of some stuff right quick. I am back. Let's see who's in the chat right now. Did I get the internal terminal mode on my Icom 9700 working? Sorry for the delay there, answering the question. No, I did not. I know somebody that tried. Dana, I'm trying to figure out what his call letters real quick. He was on the other night. N7UFT. He's in Diamond Bar, which is about a 10-minute drive away. He tried it the night that we were talking about it, and his radio completely froze up. So when I tried it, I couldn't get in my call letter, so I was not able to do that. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to get that thing to work, because I really want to try that. I don't want to get a hotspot, spend $400 for it. That's another reason why I don't want to buy a hotspot right now, because that's probably the only time I'll use it is in my shack. So hopefully I'm going to try to look at some more videos and get the terminal mode in my Icom 9700 working. I might try to do that on a live stream one night. I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Maybe I should try that. You can watch me go through and fumble through learning how to make that happen. I know one of the guys I watched a video on, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, I mentioned in his comments that, or in the comments section on YouTube, that I was not able to get it to work, and he mentioned that he said that if I needed help, he'd feel free to email him, which I haven't. I'll probably do it in a couple of weeks when I have a little more time. In about 2 weeks, I'm going to have about 10 days off, so I might be able to check that out then. So anyways, let's get back to some radio here on the Greg K6EGG live stream.
Kilowatt 6 Echo Golf Golf. Monitoring.
Yeah, right.
Huh? Somebody out there?
Hey, Greg, I'm here. I'm in the back of my radio, though, doing some stuff, okay? So I'll be outside for a minute.
Copy that. I thought I heard somebody else out there was coming in fairly decent, too. It's close, probably, I don't know, maybe a little closer to me.
Somebody say, yeah, right. That was it.
You guys are funny. This is 86DL. Good evening.
Is that you, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. All right, I got to take a break for a minute or two. I'm working on the other side of my radio, so go ahead and talk.
Is that Keith?
It was Keith. He'd be gone.
Gone, man. He was there, gone in a flash.
What's happening? I thought I recognized that signal, but I couldn't remember who it was.
Copy. Not much. I just got done with my meeting with the people over there overseas. I do my Thursday Taiwan meeting. So, yeah. Good stuff. What's going on out here? You got the feed going tonight?
Have the feed going tonight? I'll probably have it the next couple nights, maybe even 5 days in a row or something like that, depending on how I feel. I'm working mornings, Saturday, Sunday. I have tomorrow off. I have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off.
No, that's crazy. That's great. Yeah, you'll have lots of stuff going on. I don't know. Are you going to... You know what I noticed? You've never gone into HF on your feeds. Are you ever thinking about doing that? Didn't you say you have like an NFED?
I have a TS-2000 that does not receive on sideband, so I don't have the capability of doing HF at this point. Once I get my general license, if I ever decide to actually get down and dirty and start studying, that's definitely something I would like to venture off into. I think that'll be fun.
Copy. Well, you could do 10 meters.
Not with my sick TS-2000.
mean, you could go there with the license, but yeah, that sucks. You got to sell that baby so you could fund. I don't know. What's the equivalent of the 9700? 7100?
7,300, and that's the game plan at this point. I was thinking about grabbing it anyways, and just doing some 10 meter on it before I got my license, just to get my juices wet. But I'm not seeing too much action, at least on the internet, talking about 10 meter being open. So I don't really want to fork out $1,000 for listening to static, and I got to run some more coax, which is not very fun in my ham shack situation.
Copy that. Yeah, 10 meters has been kind of dead. I use dxmaps.com, and it's pretty good. I sometimes even just leave the computer going, one of the screens going, and you can kind of see what's going on. Yeah, 10 meters is almost every day I turn it on, I'm like, 10 meters is dead. 20 meters has got tons of stuff going on, 40 and 80 of course, but like 20 is the good band, right? And it's usually, tons of stuff, and then you go to 10, it's dead. You're right. Well, it's kind of cool. Once in a while it comes in, but yeah, I hear ya.
It's on the list, so I think I thought I'd be not busy with work this fall. But it sounds like I might be very, very busy this fall. And I might take some time off around Christmas to play some more radio. But maybe starting end of October, I might be disappearing for about 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, you got to do what you got to do,
I got a lot of making up to do for the last year and a half.
Why, were you laid off or something?
Oh, yeah, I was laid off for 6 months almost.
Oh, you should have started your feed then.
Actually, that's when, what was it, last March, a year ago March? I didn't do anything for 5-6 months, and then I went back to work for like 8 weeks, and then I was off for another 2-3 months almost. And in that 2 or 3 months, I decided to get back on the radio, and that's when I found out my TS-2000 was dead. So I bought this 9700, and that's when I started up.
Copy, you bought the 9700 while unemployed?
That's affirmative.
You would have done. Well, that's it. That's awesome. Totally. I would have done the same thing.
Well, I budget myself. I don't want to get too much into my finances, but I budget myself enough that I don't have to work that much. And the unemployment we were getting at the time was covering my bills. And I figured I wasn't spending any money I would normally spend. I might as well buy myself a nice Christmas present.
Absolutely, yeah. I know everybody seems to live above their means. God forbid you live at or imagine could I don't know, Dave Ramsey would be proud, live below your means. God forbid, Gosh, you're so anti-American.
I'm so anti-American, I haven't carried a credit card balance in 20 years. I feel ashamed of myself.
Right. So, no, I hear you. I kind of do the same thing. I drive an old car. And it's I kind of laugh. I was not that I'm disparaging anybody, because it's funny. Whoever leased a car now is like actually benefiting from leasing a car. Of course, it's we're in an upside down world because of the financial situation. But in a normal world, yeah. I swear like half of people now lease their cars, and I'm like, dang, But I'll tell you, it's nice having a paid off car. That's even better.
Absolutely. My wife's is paid off, and mine will be paid off in about 4 months. It's definitely going to be a good feeling. I'm going to wait a year to get another car for my wife because her car is like 10 years old. She definitely deserves one, but she's working from home and doesn't need one. And that's another thing. Wants and needs are two different things.
Absolutely. That's it.
Yeah, I'm a little weirded out by all this financial stuff. There's a lot of it. I don't know how much you follow the markets and, emerging markets and everything else, but something's not adding up right now. And it hasn't added up for like 5 years.
Yeah, I've followed. Now I have to watch myself getting sucked into the Gerald Celentes and the Peter Schiffs and all the doom and gloomers. But no, there is something definitely kind of weird going on, and well, I don't know. Maybe we're you know, there's so many freaking people out there saying all this weird stuff. So, you know, I've heard it so much. The sky is falling. All these silver and gold bug people trying to make you buy that and all this different stuff. So, I don't know. All I know is, yeah, man, it ain't what it should be. How about that?
I would agree with you on that. I don't know what the problem is, but something ain't right. Something's brewing. It's the same way I kind of felt during the housing crisis. I don't think we're going to have a housing crisis, but I felt something coming, and I decided not to buy anything big and save my money. And I bought this house that I'm sitting in right now at the very, very, very low point, the 10, 15-year low point of this building. So I got extremely lucky on timing with this.
Yeah, copy. Yeah, it's funny how you can get the winners and losers. You buy it in 2007, you're a complete loser. You're upside down on your home for almost 15 years, right? Buy your house in 2010, you're doing great. You know, it's funny, the timing. California is this total S show, and you know, for the most part, my generation, you know, I'm a early Gen Xer. I think we're around the same age, but like, yeah, I mean, I know people that, you know, bought in the, 2005, 2006 and are completely hosed, you know, and, you know, the next, now the people now buying right now, think about it, the people that are buying right now in 2021, right, if you just bought a house right now, I mean, it's even worse. The thing that people don't realize is, you know, property tax also, right? That's another one. Talk about, you know, the average home now in Orange County is about $900,000. So, you know, I figure your property tax alone, if, you know, you're buying a home, you think you're winning, but, you know, I'm all about high interest rates for homes. I wish the interest rate right now for homes was 5% or higher, because guess what? The principal, you know, if the difference between 2% and 8% is double, I mean, the payment would be identical, but the principal would be halved. I'm all about having a lower principal, you know, but they like having a high principal and never pay it off. So, I don't know, piss me off, but you get me going on all this housing stuff. But I have a different perspective. You know, they want the principal really high because then there's more tax revenue.
Oh, I get it. I know how the game's played, dude. I get it. I agree with you 100% on that. That's how they get their cash, man. That's why they're kind of pushing it, and they just, I think they just passed something today in California, got signed, that the single family house thing, dwelling, you can have up to 10 different dwellings in one plot now.
10?
10, 10. You heard me correct.
Wow. Well, I guess LA will be doing quite well. I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means by 10. That just means maybe that they'll be able to tear down stuff, put apartment complexes or something. I don't know.
Correct. You nailed it.
Yeah, it's already bad enough. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they create the problems by not following the rules. You know, they don't enforce the laws, and then they have to fix what they, you know, the problems created by the lack of following the laws over a lot of years. You know, if, like, for example, the number of people in a house or an apartment, you know, the law is like, let's say if you have a one-bedroom apartment, you can only have X amount of people in it, right? Well, you know those laws aren't followed, so then that makes the rent go up. Because now you're competing with 4 wage earners in a one-bedroom apartment, and then it makes it harder for everyone else, especially the people that live, let's say, like that's what we did back in the 90s, is just one person rented a one, you know. So anyways, they don't enforce anything, and then they create problems by it, you know. So yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm kind of curious. It's almost like I'm gonna get out the popcorn, just watch the show. This is gonna be really interesting these next few months. You know, the moratorium's gonna turn off. No more extended unemployment. No more unemployment. It's like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, and your dollar is not going to be worth as much as it was, 4 years ago. So, people have, $100,000 worth of savings. It's going to be worth like $40,000, and you can burn through that, if you own a house and a family in 3 or 4 months easily.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, This time it's really affecting all generations, the inflation. The inflation before really affected the millennials, maybe Gen Xers. It didn't affect the boomers much because they already bought their homes and already had their education. But they are getting hit hard on medical if they're under medical age. But think about it. Now the inflation's hitting everybody. There's nobody protected from it like before. Before it was kind of generational. So it's going to be a hit, especially to the older generation, because there are a lot of now people are on fixed incomes. It's not like you could make more money. You're screwed.
Yeah, and a lot more younger people are renting versus buying because they don't want to be strapped down to one place. And now, I don't know your financial situation, but you probably wouldn't want to go anywhere because you wouldn't want to pay what in taxes, what you just said a little while ago. So it's like, what do you do? So now people can hop around in apartments, houses, whatever. It's a different game than, when, 15 years ago when stuff were, higher interest rates and stuff like that and lower inflation and stuff. So I don't know, man. This is some weird stuff going on. Inflation, 6-8% and pay wages only going up 2-3% a year. Something's going to crack.
Well, one thing to consider is there's no more stimulus checks coming. There's no more extra money. People are actually making literally more money than they used to make. A lot of these people were making more money on unemployment than working. So there's going to be less money as of 2 weeks ago, right? So that's deflationary. So all that inflation, you got two things. There's two forces, right? There's reduction in supply and an increase in the money supply. So two forces. Now take away one. There's less money now going to go around, right? Because there's less unemployment. There's no more stimmy checks. So that's gone. Now there's still a shortage of supply, but at least one of the two forces driving inflation is going to go away. So it'll be interesting. I think it will. I think this used cars and just stuff. People buying stuff they don't need. TVs and whatever. I think those things will actually people will be there'll be less money for that kind of stuff. So I think there'll actually be a little bit of deflationary forces in the next couple months, unless the good old government starts turning that back on, then we're back where we were. So we're going to see what they do. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do in the next couple months. Unemployment is supposedly possibly even going up now instead of what they thought would be going back after they thought people would go back to work. But I think if they are a choice between being homeless and working a job they don't like, I think they're going to have to go back to work. I think they ultimately will.
I hope so, because I know I frequent restaurants and they're still having trouble finding people. I did see the numbers today on the unemployment, which is I was a little fairly surprised. I don't know about you, but I thought it'd be a lot less unemployment. But I don't know, man. Everything's out of whack. A lot of people just don't want to go to work. They rather just sit on their butt right now. I mean, I don't mind sitting on my butt, but I definitely enjoy working if I can.
Yeah, but wait till the gauntlet comes. Once okay, there's no more you have to pay your landlord. You have to you're going to be homeless. You're going to get evicted, or your car's going to get repoed, or you can't. There's no more money. The gravy train is stopped. Then it's okay. So maybe they're not within a week. They're not going to just magically go all of a sudden signing up to go to work. Maybe it's going to take a little bit of time. I don't know. I think that's part of it. Is it's such a good deal. Imagine going surfing and doing all this stuff, especially if you live in California, you got all the nice weather. Shoot, why would you work? I kind of wish I wasn't. It would have been great. I would have had a vacation, you know what I'm saying? Think about it. When you were out of work a year and a half ago, let's see, were you able to get the extra stuff? Too bad you weren't unemployed, let's say now, where you got extra stimmy checks. That'd be even better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I went back to work, you know, some weeks that I made less than what I would have made on unemployment. So I don't know. I think my mind is a little different than the normal folk out there. I enjoy working. I try to work as much as I possibly can, just because I wanted to retire early. But I don't know, man. It's a different game right now.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting. We're going to watch this the next few months, man. It's going to be certainly interesting. And then the shortage of stuff for Christmas. But, like, the way I see it, you know, do we need this stuff, really? I mean, you know, God forbid somebody takes a haircut. You know, I mean, like, people are just buying stuff they just don't need. So much waste. Crap they don't need. I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm not that sympathetic, you know. It's like, I know it's going to hurt jobs and it's going to hurt, you know, people that have, you know, but ultimately they're buying so much stuff they just don't need. You know, like, I don't know. Am I missing something here?
No, you know, the atmosphere around our society has always like pushed like Christmas time. The commercials on. You need to buy this. If you don't buy this, the economy is going to go down. If you know, it's kind of what seemed like it was shoved in our face. All these Hallmark holidays and stuff like that, and you know, it was kind of scaled down last year, and the world still went around. So, you're right. Do we need it? I mean, I'm talking into a 9-year-old iMac computer that seems to be working fine. I would like to do some more stuff with it, but I can't. But do I need to? No. My laptop that's right down below me here, that's 9-10 years old. My car, you know, with 2 cars down there, they're about 5. The newest one's 5 years old, and the other one's 10 years old. So it's like, but I know people that goes out and buys new cell phones like every single year. They come out. I have an iPhone 8. You know, it's 4 years old or whatever. It still does the job. Do we need it? No. And I think hopefully some of these people will get that now.
Yeah, exactly. See, I have the iPhone 12. My other phone broke, and it's a long story. But anyway, the 13 just came out, right? I didn't even barely know it came out. My son told me about it, but like, and of course I was curious, what's the new features? And it's like incrementally better, right? You know, so I don't hear anybody. You know how there's all these, you know, the Apple fan base, you know, like, I'll admit I did sign up when the new one came out because I was like on borrowed time on my old phone with a cracked screen and everything, so I signed up and got it. But like now I don't hear anybody talking about the 13 coming out and caring about buying it or whatever. It's true, you don't need it. An iPhone 8 or better is more than adequate. Even a 6, it's fine. Same with your computer. If it's working, who cares? You know, car drives, then just drive it. You know, it just seems so wasteful. Yeah, I mean, you could buy a new car, but do you need it? You know, no. 5 years old is fairly new. Cars usually last about 20 years, you know. So, yeah, I just don't need this stuff. Now, it's going to cause a lot less, you know, I guess, jobs or whatever. I mean, we should start making stuff, then maybe jobs. You know how our jobs all skewed, you know. Let's like, make stuff again, you know.
Yeah, but I got popcorn ready and watching. I don't know. I remember my economics teacher, he referred to the economy as sort of like a rubber band where it just, you know, it goes in and out and you can slide it side to side, but if you go one way too far and one way another way too far and you do that close together, you usually end up snapping it. So I don't know. That might be what we're in, but, you know, a lot of big money out there on the line, so I don't know if they want to lose it. But I know they've been making it the last year and a half. Big time. I mean, look at those guys, all those guys, you know, Bezos and all those, Microsoft, they made a killing the last 18 months.
Right. I mean, I think most people are pretty much, you know, want free market capitalism, you know, that are in the U.S. here, and, you know, people aren't for communism, and I get that, but there also is an argument towards, for a stable society, you can't have too much wealth gaps, right? There's something to be said about that, and that's, That's kind of what you're, I think, alluding to, and that's, when there's, what's the crazy number? And it's true. The top 0.1%, or no, the top 3 people, I think just the richest 3 people have, if I'm not mistaken, it's 40 or 50% of the wealth. Or no, more wealth than 100 million Americans. Three people, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and what's the other dude? I'm not sure if that's totally accurate, but it's something like that. And that is so crazy that I felt like, okay, maybe we could do something a little bit to improve this, wealth gap difference. Come on now. All right, 86DL.
And 6UTD.
Copy K6EGG. Go ahead, Bill.
Tuned in, and you guys are talking about my favorite topic, sounds like, economics. What I missed?
I was actually just going to bring up California and more, narrowing down to a city, an area of San Francisco where you got a humongous wage gap, and it's not really working, and it's spreading throughout our state. And that's my personal opinion. I remember, 5-6 years ago going up to San Francisco, and I was thinking, man, this is not good. And I know it's worse up there now. And what San Francisco was 5 years ago, I think Los Angeles is now. So that does not fare well for housing and wealth gap, with all the big tech money up there and everything else.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that the wealth gap can be problematic, and I think it's going to get worse. And the reason I think it's going to get worse is because it looks like the worldwide movement towards collectivism is winning. So the only thing that actually reduces wealth gap is free market economics. And a lot of people don't understand it. They like the sound of collectivism, and the only thing so you can't centrally plan away a wealth gap, because there's always people who are going to plan for them to get richer during that central planning, right? Like look at any communist country. Look at Xi Jinping. He's super rich, right? And take a look at Putin. He's even more rich. So I lived for a month in Ukraine, which is very much under the Russian control, or Russian economic influence. And there is no middle class there. You're either super rich or most everyone else is, pretty poor. Our limousine driver, he makes more than his wife. His wife was a medical doctor, and he told me that she just got a pay raise. She was working for the government hospital, making $200 a month, and now she was going in private practice and making $300 a month. But the only system that naturally reduces wealth gap is free market economics because of competition. Because let's say that someone in the current system where there's a lot of regulations that allow for protection, competition protection, so someone can easily make a lot of money and everyone else makes very little. But if without those protections, then there's always someone who's willing to do something for less. And CEOs, for example, there's always going to be a CEO that would be willing to do something for less if there wasn't this elaborate system of protections in place to protect them from competition. So it's only going to get worse, is my prediction.
It's definitely heading that direction, and I think it's going to spread east. If that makes sense.
I think it's spreading around the world right now. So it's interesting. I'm restudying World War II right now and history, and I kind of see some of the same things happening over again. Is what I see. It seems to be a worldwide movement.
See if I got it. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to hear you guys come come back there and talk. Yeah, I think, I got a son who's a Gen Zer, and I think, they see what's going on. And even the millennials, you think about it, they're kind of nihilistic, I think, for a good reason. The collectivism is attractive because I give this analogy, okay, and, I explain this to older people like the boomers that don't really get it, right? Okay, imagine, because they had it, let's say when it comes to housing or things that are conducive of having a family, let's say, right? Like starting a house, getting a house, a starter house, and starting a family. Things that millennials and definitely Gen Z don't even think they have a chance of. So I give the analogy. Let's say, let's say, like here in Garden Grove, back in the 80s, a person bought a house in the 80s for like $100,000. The same house is $1 million now, right? So the millennial doesn't even, it's priced, whether it's $1 million or $1 billion, it doesn't matter. The house is out of reach in their eyes. So they become nihilistic and they don't even try as hard. So that's kind of like collectivism or communism becomes attractive, is because they don't really, before, they said, like quoting George Carlin, the American dream is a dream because you have to, in order to believe it, you have to be asleep, but for them, they know it's a lie. At least before they were fooled to think it was true, and I think it is true, but for them it's not. They really, I think, feel it's hopeless. Now I give younger people advice saying, look, it might be hopeless, but not here in California, but in other parts of the country the cost of living is much lower and you could have a good life, and you might have to move out of California to have it. So anyway, 86DL, I guess I'll pass it to you, Greg.
We don't have to have no order, but I do agree with you on that there's definitely, if a bunch of people can, do something, they can, kind of stick together, kind of make their own little world. And with that being controlled by by the masses. So, they have the queen bee or whoever. Oh, this and that. Everybody seems to be like gravitating to everything, like it's the biggest deal in the world, and then something else comes up and it's the biggest deal in the world, and it's all for the reasons you guys pointed out. And that goes with social stuff and social media credit and everything else. It's all one big giant thing, I think, is happening now all at once. It's pretty crazy stuff to watch this happen. I mean, we don't have no order, so just go whoever wants to go.
I'll go. So let me see if I got it. So yeah, it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page or recognizing the same things. And I don't know if there's any turning it around, because the system, we keep building the system more and more to punish income earning and punish owning property, that it's more and more difficult to accumulate wealth or accumulate savings. I hate to call it wealth because the term wealth has been demonized so badly, but to accumulate savings, and with policies, not just the taxation policies, but the policies that are like cause inflationary pressures. And inflation steals from saving, right? So if you are able to save, but then inflation steals that savings, what's the point? And other things too, like destroying the economy and then introducing new government supports to make us more dependent on the government. So, like is being done through this whole COVID thing. So there's a lot of things that, the system was already set up in ways that made it difficult to save and earn money, but it's being even more increased in making it difficult to save and earn money. And I don't know if there's any way to turn it around at this point, because people just don't understand.
Yeah, like I said, just get the popcorn out. It's just going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah, and one of our politicians in our state, said that, during this pandemic, and yes, I said it in an interesting way, we can build it back better with not socialism, but what's the word he used? Oh, crap. I forgot. He used a socialistic term. So, yeah, you nailed it right on the head there, Bill. And if the higher-ups can control the masses, that can make them be up even further than the people that are down below. They're spreading the gap even more. They did this in this state with shutting down stuff, which really, honestly, statistically didn't make a world of a difference for states that didn't. So they kind of, I personally think they kind of use that to their advantage to speed up their process of what they wanted to do. That may sound a little conspiracistic, but it's happening right before our eyes. I can drive down the road and see a half a dozen empty buildings where I used to see small restaurants and small owned businesses that are now completely vacant. They're probably going to be a Halloween outfit store for, in a couple weeks or something, if you know what I mean.
I say if it looks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And people can call it a conspiracy if they want to, but a lot of conspiracies have come true. And the bottom line is, you're naive to think that if something is possible, and people can do it because it's possible, and they're in a position of power and they want more power and money, and it's possible to increase that, you're naive to think that they don't do it.
And you're more naive to think that they're on your side.
You ever heard the joke, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth?
What?
90 days.
Kind of like the difference between a bad haircut and a good haircut, right? It's 2 weeks.
That's true, too. I heard a comment in there. Go ahead. This is 86DL. I heard a comment jump in, so I'll stand by.
Norway 6 Juliet, India. Yeah, the comment is that all of this,
Here we go.
since the 60s, is called social engineering. This has all been planned. Breaking up the family unit, making the husband and the wife work in order to maintain. Have you ever heard of Admiral James Lyons? He tells you about social engineering and how that every aspect of our intelligence community has been infiltrated. And he tells it like it is. It's very interesting. N6JJ.
He still lives down in Orange County, if I'm correct.
Who still lives in Orange County?
Lyon, right?
Now, he died in, I think it was 2018 or 19, over.
Oh, okay. I think he still, they have an estate at Coda de Casa down in Orange County. I think he used, at least his family still owns it, I think, now. But yeah, I don't know. I personally don't know if it's planned, but I definitely think it was wanted, and they took the opportunity and ran with it.
There's all kinds of videos, and he did a lot of speaking of it. Admiral James Lyons from it. Now, L-Y-O-N-S.
How rich
watch his videos.
Elon Musk is, but honestly, I think Elon Musk is one of the good guys, so I'm not going to disparage him much, but certainly Amazon benefited from this whole thing, no doubt. And the way the system's set up, it is set up to provide barriers to entry, which I call protectionism. But really, what we're at is we're at I watched Joe Biden's speech that he gave, I think yesterday or today, and he said we're at this cusp of where America's going to go one direction or another direction, and he's absolutely right. But it's not the cusp that he thinks we're at, or it's not the cusp that he was presenting to the American people. He probably knows where we're at, but maybe he doesn't. He's that stupid. But I didn't mean to say that. Sorry. But we are at a cusp, and it's a cusp between individual freedom and collectivism. And so we really are going to have to make a decision if we're going to continue the United States the way that it was designed on individual freedom, or we're going to follow the path of collectivism. But if we follow the path of collectivism, then then that means we have to violate our Constitution. And if we violate our Constitution, then our country is no different than any other country. It's just a piece of land, just like Germany or Japan or Russia or any place. There's nothing special about it because the only thing that makes it special is freedom.
It's already been violated.
Yeah, I know. And I don't know if the crazy train is able to be turned around at this point.
The thing I don't understand is people that did not learn history, people came here on boats trying to get away from this and made this country what it is. And they've had forethought on stuff like this happening again because they studied their own history before they started this country. And now it's because we didn't look at our history from before and look at European history. It's starting to happen here, and we're letting it happen.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you look at like immigrants from countries that are communist countries, people who escaped tyranny, like maybe people who escaped from even North Korea or Russia or wherever, they see this happening, and they're American citizens now, and they're distressed. And our own people don't see it happening. And it's so, I don't know, I don't even have words to describe how frustrating it is for me.
Well, if you turn the water on heat very slow, you're not going to notice it, right?
That's right, and that's what's happening. You know, I've been studying World War II stuff recently, and it's interesting to see how history repeats itself from that. So, for example, when the Nazis invaded Poland, we tend to think of the Russians as having been our allies, but the truth is that when the Nazis invaded Poland, so did Russia, and they took the other half. And you know what their excuse was? Their excuse was, you ready? Their excuse was, we need to protect the ethnic Russians in Poland. Well, does that sound familiar? It does. Think about Crimea and the Donbas region of Ukraine. What is their excuse today for invading Ukraine? We need to protect the ethnic Russians in Ukraine. So history is constantly repeating itself for people who don't study history.
I got to say something too. My mom is a lifelong blue person, Democrat, and she shocked me when she said she was going to vote yes on a recall because she's afraid of what's happening. Everything went too far. You know, I don't mind some social programs, at least that's what she said, but the direction and the speed it's going into is not good. So that was fairly shocking for me because I've always been kind of, I wouldn't say I'm head to head on, you know, my mom on stuff, but that seemed very weird. My dad came from Canada during the Vietnam War to get away from this, and he's like, I'm glad I'm not going to be around much longer because this is going to be a S show.
I think part of the issue is the people that are majority voters don't have any skin in the game. You know, people talk about, you know, like women didn't have the right to vote, but it's really property owners, right? It wasn't just women, it was guys too. You know, it's, you know, now, you know, you argue that, what is it, over 50% of people get some sort of subsidy, right? So, you know, they don't have skin in the game, so they're kind of biased in voting themselves stuff. So, and it's going to continue to increase. Figure that's kind of what's, that's why it's snowballing. I mean, I'm not, the election was kind of surprising. I thought it wasn't going to be that lopsided, when it came to the recall. But it just reminds me how left California is. It just is, and we're going to continue now. Think about it. The day after he got in, he knew he won. Right around the mask mandates came the next day. Oh, you think it's bad before? It's going to be now. It's like they're not going to hold back now. They have no reason to. It's going to get crazy.
Great. Kind of agree with you about the whole skin in the game thing.
I'll be right back. K6EGG. Keep going, guys.
Right on. Hey, Bill. Yeah. Well, I mean, people get all butthurt about, the women's right to vote thing, and there's some guys that are really weird. They're like, we shouldn't even let women. That was the defining point. We let women vote. Well, sort of. There's a little bit of truth to it. Meaning, for example, they're more compassionate, more emotional and stuff. And also they have, generally speaking, they're as a whole, the majority of voters, 60% of the vote, and they pay the least. They pay a lot less taxes for different reasons. But that's not the big issue. I mean, that's part of the reason, but. Together, I think you're going to have, I don't know. I think it goes with what J&J was saying. I mean, I have to be careful not to sound like sexist or anything, but it kind of collectively goes around the breakdown of the family too, like where you remove the father from the home. So then now there's no man around. So the replacement for the man, which women need protection. They need to be taken care of. If it's not a man to do it, it's going to be the government to do it in its place. So then it's a vicious cycle. Thank you, boomers. 60% divorce rate. That's kind of part of it. And then you got all these single moms out there, and they, need help, and the systematic removal of the father from the home. You replace it with the government as the state becomes the man, and so it's all intertwined. So I kind of get. I think that's what JJI was kind of alluding to. I don't know if you're still out there, JJI.
QSL. Yeah, it's all been engineered. You go back and you study it, and like I said, you listen to some of these people talk, like Admiral James Lyon and the rest of these people that even some of the people that Alex Jones had on. It's been engineered from the get-go since they killed Kennedy. Over.
Yeah, copy. But I see it continuing in that direction. People, especially now, think about it. The people that remember what America was, figure you have to be about 40 years old or older, right? Maybe 45. Well, 40, maybe. I'm just being conservative. The youngest possible, probably 40. All the millennials, all the people younger, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. Actually, they're, like I said, they're nihilistic. If I can't blame a 20-year-old. They come into this world with no, foreseeable hope of having the things that their parents had, a home or a family, think about it from a guy's perspective. A 20-year-old boy, going to college, they're demonized for being male, and then then there's unrealistic expectations that they have to have that weren't on the previous generation as far as being attractive enough to be, to find a wife and stuff like that. It's just much more difficult and different than it was for the older generation. So they become a little more nihilistic. They don't care. So it'll be interesting to watch. They are the hope. I actually see them as the ones that would make something change out of it. Or they just become complacent and don't do anything. I don't know. Maybe the video games will pacify them enough to where they won't be active about it. I don't know.
Well, do I have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we have some neighbors next door, and what they're teaching these younger ones and the millennials, these guys are so intimidated, they won't drive. They've got California IDs. Now, I want to point out something to you about the sanctuary state.
Now, you talked about why people came to this country, you know, from Europe. They were running away from the Spanish Inquisition, beheadings, the burning at the stake as wishes. You got out of there. Freedom of religion, that's where that came about. You look at just Google, you know, the Spanish Inquisition, burning at the stake and the hangings. You cannot believe the etchings. They didn't have pictures, but they had artists to draw etchings. You go back, and this one world order under the church has been the 16th century Queen Elizabeth. This is where this all started. Now you look at the sanctuary state of California, and the present Pope is a Marxist, believe it or not. And this is the KGB infiltrated the Catholic Church. You know, Chief Justice Roberts, when we had trouble with Trump up there and what was going on with the riots and things. He's Catholic. Look up how many people on the Supreme Court are Catholic. Biden is Catholic. And we go to, you know, what do you call it, Pelosi, she's Catholic. And we go to, you know, Newsom, they're all Catholic. Now, I know this sounds funny, but there is such a thing as Catholic socialism. Now, I heard on the YouTube last night they're spreading this thing that people are happiest under the Catholic socialism, and the Catholics have adopted China. They've got a church almost in every province in China. Now they're singing and praising the Communist Party of China, and where, you know, 20 years ago that wouldn't have happened. And they're the ones who were pushing for more gun control than anybody. You know, when England went into China, they took over. They're the ones who pumped the heroin in to get the people on drugs, take over Hong Kong. And then they started to confiscate weapons. And the same thing was they got the heroin out of India, and they tried to confiscate the weapons from India. So they would all go under the you know, the order of the church and the crown. And this keeps going on, and now it's come to haunt us. In fact, during this border crisis, they're the ones, the Catholics were supplying the logistics and the food and everything for all these people to make these long travels out of South America, Central America, to come up and crash our border. But go back and look. I'm telling you, the Catholic Church has been infiltrated. And this breakup of the family unit, this has all been engineered. It's K6EGG.
Yeah, but like, so, you know, what are you going to do, right? I mean, are you going to be the martyr? I don't know. Yeah, get the popcorn out. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. You know, I kind of a little bit jealous of the previous generation. You know, I'm in my 40s, but, you know, what are you going to do, right? I mean, you do small things, vote here and there, but, man, when you watch what happened just, you know, a couple of days ago with the super majority, I call it super duper majority, you know, blue state here in California. It is what it is, man. It's not going to any, I mean, talk about securing, you know, election going forward. You know, you think they got enough already, but they're still securing it with even more future voters. It's amazing, you know, so, yeah, I guess I enjoyed at least up to the 90s and 2000s. I guess it was pretty decent, you know, but, yeah, maybe the gig's up, you know, for the most part of what we remember it to be, and then, you know, we just have to figure it out.
Well, here's the thing about, let me see if I got it. Again, the Catholic Church tells the congregation how to vote. This is how they get more and more and get more control. They are very active politically, and they're telling them who to vote for and who they want in office. And, you know, a priest gets up there and tells, you know, a couple of hundred people at a church, you know, you vote this way, and every one of them do this, start campaigning. How are we going to stop that? Just how? It's almost impossible, isn't it?
I don't think they're allowed to say who to vote for. I'm not sure. Isn't that part of the rules? I don't know. Of, you know, charity, whatever you call it. I don't know. But I hear you in there, Bill. Go ahead. N6UTD, I heard you in there. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, I don't know that I can buy into a Catholic Church conspiracy. I think that the they can to further their goals. I think that the ends, for them, the ends justify the means. Just like with when Joseph Stalin killed all the people in Russia when he was taking over. So they're going to use whatever means necessary. One of the issues that the Republicans are our only hope, right? But the problem is the Republicans don't even believe in individual freedom or the real policies of individual freedom. So you have the Republicans being conservative, right? So the problem is the pendulum is always swinging left. And the conservatives, what's the definition of conservative? Well, the definition of conservative is just staying where you're at. So Republicans aren't learning what the right is, if you will, and conservatism is not the right, by the way. So classic liberalism is the right. So Republicans do not pursue policies of classic liberalism, and until they do, the pendulum is not going to swing right. And another problem is that who is educating our children? So we're going along with this public school system deal, but where do teachers get their paychecks from? Well, they get their paychecks from the government. So why would they ever promote anything that threatened where they get their paycheck from, right? They never would. So as long as we have the public school system like we have, and we have Republicans that are not learning about classic liberalism and individual freedom and free market economics, it's going to continue this way. You've got Republicans still thinking that they can centrally plan things, like President Trump when he put his import taxes on China. That is not free market economics, and no matter how you slice it, it's bad for America. And another thing is the war on drugs. That is not individual freedom. So until we get past those issues, I don't think that there's any direction we can go but continue to move left.
Copy, Bill. I think you fall into the libertarian category, it sounds like. I get you where you're coming from. Yeah, I think the myth of having an R next to their name is magically going to save everything, and obviously they've done their damage too. Supermajorities, regardless of party, are corrupt, ultimately. Alaska has a supermajority Republican, and there's been some corruption up there. So it kind of goes hand in hand, checks and balances. California's a supermajority Democrat. It makes Democrats look super bad because they're ultimately corrupt because of the supermajority. But go figure, they both have their problems. To go back to if you don't mind, I'll go back to the topic Greg and I were talking about before. I'm trying to figure out how people are getting by. So there's this article that says, now credit card balances are ballooning. So there you go. That's what's happening. Now because remember how people paid down their loans and paid down their, they said like 1/3 went towards bills. In other words, pay down some loans. They actually saved for the first time. Now they're burning through their savings and racking up their credit card debt. That's what's happening now. So the gig's up, though. They'll have to, the credit cards can only go so much for a bit, like another month or two, and then they'll have to work.
They got used to that money.
I know. It's just so funny. I'm like, how are they living? How are they not able to, the unemployment check stopped. Aren't they rushing right back to work? No, they got some credit card balances they could kick down the road now. They paid it down a little bit. So, it's amazing how financially irresponsible people are. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, nuts. Like, Orange County is especially bad.
Do I have it? Yeah, I learned in high school in home ec, that, how to balance a checkbook and, what credit is, and it's not for living. And a lot of people use credit to live, and I understand people's situations sometimes, but I also see people just spending $100 on dinner a night, every weekend, and their credit card bills have balances have $5-6 grand on them. So that goes back to what we talked about earlier, Dan, is, do you need it? Do you want it? How are you going to pay for it? So, Yeah, something's brewing.
Well, K6EGG goes back to this thing of social engineering. And, again, there's that religious component. And this is what gets me, the sanctuary state. Who started that? Who contrived that? It was the priest and the church. And, Governor Brown was Catholic, and so was Newsom. And this is it's fixed, I'm telling you. Oh, did you hear about how many, 350,000 votes disappeared in this recall election? Over?
Oh, no, is it starting? See, I figured, okay, I know it's a super majority here, and I think he would have won anyways, but I think they got a little carried away, and it's like it's like too distortedly high. I think he still would have won even without the fraud, but I think they didn't want to take any chances, and now, is it already starting? Are you already hearing stuff? Oh, great.
It's on the YouTube. You can watch it from Fox News. It says, let's see here, it's Tucker Carlson, and they talked about that 350,000. My stepfather, got ballots in the mail-in ballots because they can't go. They're 90 years old. And so, son of a gun, someone had opened them up and wrote on them the office of candidate, but you couldn't use the ballots, over?
Yeah, you should go on the news for that one.
Well, the ballots are still in there. I went to the post office, and they said you got to turn it in. What are they going to do? There's nothing you can do. You can't punish them. You can't find out. The police are going to take fingerprints. What are you going to do?
No, it's just the story alone is worth mentioning.
I wrote that Larry Elder. I could scan them and send it to him, but how many other of those things in the mail-in ballots have been compromised like that?
Well, I guess 350,000. No, I still think he would have won. I mean, that's how left the California is. I think even without corruption, I still think. And people are like, I know, let's say if you live in South Orange County, like in some of the cities, it's conservative, right? And you think, oh yeah, it's pretty moderate. Maybe it's 50-50. No, you go through LA, it's like 90% Democrat, 95%. So, and that's where all the people are, millions of people. So, I mean, I think we're deluding ourselves to think that, like, Newsom would have lost. I think he would have won even without the help of corruption.
Well, interesting, yeah. Just go on YouTube and ask them and see how the Catholics tell you how to vote. And they don't pick a party. They want certain people with these certain social programs. And they encourage them to do it that way. Or they'll drop names, too, who they think, regardless if Republican or Democrat. If these social programs will help the poor, they encourage them to do it this way. There's all kinds of videos on YouTube about it, over?
Yeah, copy. I didn't know if I haven't heard, I'm surprised, okay, I know there's a lot of different, I don't know if you call it conspiracy theory, but I haven't heard much, and I'm kind of surprised, I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true, okay, but I haven't heard anything about really the Catholic Church being involved much, and you'd think at least if there was some things about that, it would be discussed a little more. I don't know, that's all I'm saying about that. I'll check into it a little bit. I'm always open-minded about hearing different things, and that's the first time I've kind of heard about that, so I'll check into it a little bit.
Now look at the Catholic Church on gun control. This is kind of done on the, they do this on the low. They don't spread it around only within their congregation. And there's videos about it, and there's all kinds of priests calling for gun control. We didn't have all this trouble with the guns until they started, pumping the CIA started selling drugs and bringing it back from Vietnam, the veterans, and drugging the hippies during the Nixon administration. So, we didn't have this problem. And we had M1 carbines, but kids, we all had guns. Nobody wanted to shoot somebody. And you notice how the post office, there's no more mass shootings in the post office because veterans who were getting treated at the VA with psychotropic drugs. Stop the drugs, over.
Yeah, it did kind of magically go away. I don't know.
Yeah, I do.
what was that? But anyway, my comment was this is all done by design. Even the mass shootings are done. And, if you want to read Bill Cooper's book, Naval Intelligence Officer, way back, and I met him during the 60s. I'm 71. I thought the man was crazy, but everything that man has said is true. He wound up being killed by 2 sheriffs outside of his house. But Bill Cooper, or William Cooper, and his book was Behold the Pale Horse. And you see everything he said is coming true. He's writing his book, or you can watch a video on YouTube about it, or?
Yeah, copy. It sounds like rabbit holes. I try to avoid rabbit holes. You literally can go on YouTube and spend days, and I feel like you're spinning your wheels eventually. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's not much you can do about it. You live your life and then enjoy your friends and family and do your thing. Ultimately, I mean, worrying about these things aren't going to really change anything. Not to be like all just defeatist about it, but we also, I think, have to be somewhat pragmatic about it too.
Well, somebody has to stand up and do something. To be apathetic and to be complacent, there will come a day where you will have to pick up something and do something. That's all there is to it. Your forefathers did it. Unless you acquiesce to the powers that be, I mean, I'm sorry. It's just something's going to break somewhere, like you said earlier, in succession.
Well, even Martin Luther King. Now, look at him. Are we judging people on the content of their character anymore? Think about it. It's sad to say, but his efforts lasted about 30 years, so the martyr, so humans are stupid, right? People are, I hate to say it, but we're kind of, for the most part, we're not that smart, and we keep making the same stupid mistakes. So I don't know. I guess I'm being a little bit, like what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I see, people can vote. Ultimately, everything's driven by money. You could vote with your wallet. Ultimately, I think that would be a way.
Well, I'm an anti-communist who doesn't believe in democracy. So where am I? K6EGG.
Right. Things are outside your control, whether you like it or not, so, I mean, people that leave California, that could be one way to stop funding the dragon, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. But there's so many, like I say, things that, keep happening or get passed, and things that, that it's just amazing. One thing after another, and you're like, oh, man, okay. What are you going to do, so... I'm surprised, if it wasn't for, I think I wouldn't be in California if it wasn't for my family situation, but I have no choice but to be here for the next few years. But, that would be one way. So, I mean, why did you, okay, a question for you, JJ. I'm put you on the spot. You're 71. Why are you still in California?
I have 2 90-year-old parents that I'm taking care of them in the estate. Take care of them. Caregiver, and I have another caregiver that comes in. One's 97, and my stepfather's 97, and they're 90. The house is paid for them. I have power of attorney. I pay all the bills, so I can't leave. I'm trapped.
Copy. Okay, trapped. That's a good reason. I'm trapped too, for a different reason, but yeah, I'm trapped.
And it may be if I live, they might outlive me. But I'll tell you what, if the time comes and I see fit to go someplace else, I think about it an awful lot.
Yeah, copy. Well, in your case, I would say you're financially actually better off in California. A paid-off home that's Prop 13 is still cheaper to live here in California than it is to go at pretty much any other state. So a new home somewhere else, unless it's a really small, cheap, nothing of a place, I mean, you can't really beat Prop 13. The effective tax rate is still much lower than pretty much any other state except like maybe Tennessee or something, but The people that are paying all the taxes are the people who bought homes in the last 10, 20 years, especially after specifically the year 2000. That's when home prices went up substantially. Anybody who bought a home before the year 2000 is paying like nothing for property tax,
Yeah, QSL, I may stay, but, I've got my cowboy guns. I don't have any of those semi-automatics. They're always thinking laws against them. They're taxing them now. So. But, I was a very avid hunter. I'm too old to go do that anymore. But I'll tell you what, I don't like anything about these people imposing. And if you look at socialist England, you look at England and how it went, the church is behind all of this stuff. And the reason is you don't hear about it because church has the leader's ears. They have the judge's ears. You won't believe how intertwined it is, all right?
Copy. Yeah, it looks like you've been really. Well, I get you as far as the church is, because it's like there's several billion people part of the Catholic Church, so I could see a lot of stronghold on a lot of different things that they may have. I don't know anything about it, so. A question for you: how come you're cutting off? Do you have an amplifier with like a relay? Because I noticed I hear like a relay click sound when you in between your voice peaks. I'm just curious.
Oh, that's just force from habit. Yeah, I let go of the. I'm using my first finger on the microphone. I've got it upside down and backwards. And I used to do that all the time. When we were doing the emergency work, and why I do and I let go of it. Was it keeps the transmitter a little bit cool when you're talking on FM. We use simplex. So somebody needs to break in there and there's an emergency, they've got a break. Over.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I was kind of wondering why you're doing that. Okay, I figured that's what it was. I mean, it actually sounds like, you're completely off the transmitter for a split second there. Got it. Okay, cool.
Just a force of habit. Something I learned years ago, and that's the way we did it. Just like here, if there's somebody who was out there and they couldn't get, a lot of the repeaters are dead, no control operator. But if somebody was driving in their car, heard us talking, and I let go at the right time, their brakes, they needed an emergency, one of us could call.
Yeah, copy.
Last three. All right. I think we beat this horse to death. I think it's, legs up on the freeway, over.
Copy. Yeah, what else is going on out here, huh? I don't know if you hear Bill. Bill likes talk. I like economics, though. Hey, Bill, question for you. Do you ever listen to, like, Peter Schiff and Gerald Celente? Oh, he's gone.
No, I'm here. Sorry about that. No, I listen to Rush.
Are you still there? No, he's still there. Hey, Bill, you listen to who?
I listen to Rush. I'm kidding.
Well, Rush Limbaugh, he croaked.
What's that?
You saying Rush, like Rush Limbaugh? He croaked?
No, I mean Rush the Rock Band. That's what I listen to.
Oh, okay, got it. I was like, Rush. Okay, I thought you said Rush Limbaugh. I'm like, uh-oh, we're going back to politics again? No, I'm kidding.
No, if I read stuff, I read a lot of economic stuff. I usually read little snippets from like Cato or Foundation for Economic Education or Mrs.org based on the name Ludwig von Mises, the classic liberal economist. So anything Austrian economics, I read a lot of Austrian economic stuff.
Well, yeah, Peter Schiff's like a ridiculously into, like, he's a super Austrian economic guy. He's like anti-Keynesian, like, to the max. I'm surprised you don't follow him much.
Well, Keynes is obviously the opposite of Austrian economics, but I've heard of Peter Schiff. I haven't really read his stuff, or if I have read his stuff, I haven't noticed it. I know he's a modern, current guy, but he's not the main type of person I read. I read, even a little bit of Milton Friedman, although he had a little bit of stuff wrong, in my opinion, because he was still central planning. And then there's, what's his name? I forget the name of my favorite Austrian economist. Any of that stuff I like reading.
Oh, okay, copy. Yeah, it's interesting. I think we're too far gone, Can't go back. Like, there was a Dave Ramsey, I was listening to one of, somebody called in and he's talking about, what would it be like if, nobody could be, if everybody, let's say, went back to the world where people saved and there was no debt, people didn't have credit card debt, they didn't have any, they just lived, below their means and saved, did everything like how rich we would, but initially it'd be a big shock to society, right? We wouldn't buy anything that we don't need, but then like a couple of years we'd all catch up and then we'd be thriving more than ever, right? We'd be getting ahead. I think that's kind of like Austrian type versus, I guess this is more of an individual thing, but anyway, that was kind of like a wonderful little fairy tale if everybody lived differently. But I don't know, like I said, people are like, especially Orange County or South Orange County is crazy. Everybody's like just so like, I don't know, everybody's leasing their car. It's funny, like keeping up with the Joneses is like a real thing,
Well, yeah, in Orange County it definitely is a real thing, but I think that you covered a lot of stuff there. I'm trying to remember all your points, and you made some good points. Let me turn down my other speaker here. I'm following the YouTube feed too, so I can hear the other people that I can't normally hear. It's just, I think it would end up the same way it's coming now if you allow governments to get big again. So like. The problem is that individual freedom and free market economics requires risk, okay? And right now, that's not what's being sold. Safety is what's being sold. But you can't have freedom and free market economics without risk. And that's the problem with like the housing market, for example, is that the government underwrites the loans, so then banks don't take on their own risk. So there is no, because interest is supposed to be the payment of risk, right? But there is no real payment of risk because the government decides what is an acceptable loan and what is not an acceptable loan, and not the banks. And, people can argue about how the bubble happened. I disagree with all of that. The bottom line is the government took on the risk instead of the banks. And another thing is transparency. That's another thing that involves risk. So the only thing that's going to keep, you talked about corruption earlier. The only thing that's going to get rid of corruption is transparency. But the problem is that they say, we need to have this top secret stuff to protect you. And so we need to have the ability to not share everything with you. But if they don't share everything with us, it puts us at a severe disadvantage because without transparency, there's no accountability of government. And so, again, we have to decide if we're going to take on the risk that we might know top secret stuff that they might want to keep secret from the enemy or not. And that's a risk that freedom takes. So the whole problem is we're moving away from the concept as a society unless we reintroduce the idea that risk is necessary and important, and we learn how, and all the good things that happen in life are usually as a result of risk, right? Like our favorite movies. The star usually goes through some immense amount of risk and comes out ahead. And so all the good things in life happen through risk. But we live in a society where the system is completely set up to eliminate risk and want us to not have risk. Like, for example, let me reset. And then this will be real quick. For example, everyone says, as a salutation, they say goodbye. They say, stay safe, stay safe, stay safe. It's like a political mantra. Stay safe. It's like right out of 1984. What we really should be saying is live dangerously. And that's my motto. If someone tells me stay safe, I respond with live dangerously. So we have to get rid of the top secret stuff. We have to have transparency. Otherwise, none of this is going to get fixed.
I get your point. Well, the risk is definitely with individuals still. I mean, look at 2007 and 8. The banks were bailed out. The individuals lost the home. But the banks, the big people taking the risk that the they were protected, right? Well, it's interesting, we're here now 13 years later, 14 years later, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're still government-backed, company. Like, at first we're like, oh man, can you believe that it's happening? That was supposed to be a temporary thing. Remember that?
Well, yeah, so we need to get rid of all that. If a bank makes a loan, they should be making that loan based on their relationship with the client, and the government shouldn't have anything to do with it. And if the bank goes bankrupt, well then that's the problem of the bank. And people, when they invest in a bank, they need to research banks. But unless you force banks to actually absorb the risk themselves and the customers of the bank to absorb the risk and take on that risk, then the system is it's never going to work. It's screwed up. There's no incentive, because the bottom line is that interest is payment for risk, but banks don't take risk. Now, you can say that they went bankrupt or whatever, but the government, what really happened in most of these situations is that either the government bailed them out, or the government decided who was going to win and who was going to lose. Like, remember Washington Mutual or WAMU? That was just an arbitrary choice. The government auditors came in and said, and they can, when the government looks at something, they can decide what they want to decide is the bad and the good, and they decided no on Washington Mutual, and they're gone, and then Bank of America got to absorb them. And it's not just Washington Mutual, it's a whole bunch of banks. So it's all about consolidation. And again, if you look at the big picture and you're thinking of it to yourself, does it look like a duck or is it walking like a duck? Centralization of power, centralization of money, centralization of banks, it's all in the benefit of big government and the people who are at the top making money off it, and it's a reduction of competition, which is what would benefit the most number of people, is more competition. Everything is interrelated, and it's hard to take away one thing from another. And if you want to talk about, I heard you talking with the other guy about gun control. We can talk about that too if you want, or we can continue. We can talk about radio if you want. I don't care.
Well, I didn't really bring up the gun control. He brought it up. He was referring to, again, how the Catholic Church was involved in that, but I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah, so, my only point on that I'd like to point out is that, a lot of Republicans are concerned about gun control laws, but what we really should be concerned about, again, is this transparency. Because, and when I say transparency, I'm talking also about private citizens' privacy. So government needs to be transparent, but citizens need to have privacy. That's the way it was designed. That's why the Fourth Amendment's there. And so my question for people who get too sidetracked on gun control is, does it really matter if you don't have privacy? Because if the government knows everything you're thinking, the purpose of the Second Amendment is to force government to be honest, right? But if the government knows what you're thinking, they can micro-target all the individuals that they think would stand up to it, take away their guns, and then the guns are useless. So, really, I think gun control is a small issue in comparison with privacy and the Fourth Amendment.
I don't know if you've ever seen the episode Top Gear, BBC Top Gear. It's like a car show. And they did this episode where they had the military, they built this crazy badass van that was all modified, and it was like totally indestructible, right? And then the military came and just this one tank just like shot at it and just blew it up to nothing. Okay, then a helicopter, and this tank was like, the tank that blew it up was ridiculously like armored and like one of the best tanks ever. And then a helicopter comes, this is like in the episode, and I guess has a missile or something, hits the tank and blows up this tank into absolutely nothing. So like, I think private citizens are delusional to think they haven't have any fighting chance against the military. It's just, That episode was like a slap in the face for anybody thinking, I'm going to hold my guns and I'm going to stand my ground, you know.
Yeah, see, you get it, and I agree with you. So while I support the Second Amendment, it's inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. At this point, the Fourth Amendment, in order to have the Second Amendment, we need the Fourth Amendment. And without that, it doesn't matter. It reminds me, your story you just told me reminds me of when we went up against, when the United States Army went up against the Iraq tank division, we went in there and we didn't lose a single tank. We blew up like hundreds of Iraqi tanks of the Republican Guard, and they were supposed to be the third best army in the world at the time, I think. And we just annihilated them. So the notion that, some old hick up in the hills thinks that he's going to hold off a brigade with his AR-15 is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think a drone will take them out. I think there's a comment in there. Okay, I'll stand by 86TL.
Yeah, N6JJI. Standing your ground is not a wise thing to do, especially against a SWAT team or anything like that. I'd never try that. But the way to get it back is just like in 1776, guerrilla warfare. A squad of guys hit and run, and never let them catch you. Yeah, it won't be standing your ground. N6JJI.
Well, I'm gonna make kind of an illegal topic change that kind of segues from that. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. So if you follow any of the alien stuff, they say that if there was ever a war with aliens, that's the same way it would be.
Oh, that would be the way for us to beat them, you mean?
Yeah, because it's likely that they would have such superior technology that we would have no way of fighting against them. So it would be similar to like how the Afghans fought off the Russians back in the day. As a guerrilla warfare, just little small pockets, and eventually it would just be a war of attrition over a long period of time.
Yeah, copy. Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to get to that. I think it's just going to be, it's funny to say this, but, even Cuba, right, it sucks, right? Let's say Cuba sucks, but people still have families and lives there. I mean, it sucks to think it, but they do. They live and they live on. We're far from that, but just saying, it's kind of funny, but, it's just a point.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to get to that either. So what I think is going to happen is the fact that I forget I think it was you that said 50% of people are getting some sort of something from the government. I think the number is higher than that. I think it's more like 90%. I think just about everyone gets some sort of government benefit in one form or another. And so the point is that there's too many people with their hands in the cookie jar. And no one's going to want to take their hand out of the cookie jar. And so right now they're building the machine to position us so that we're going to be compliant.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, it's kind of nice. Yeah, you get the free stuff. You're like, oh, shoot, the free stuff is... Well, the worst thing is when you're disincentivized. There is a point where I was like, why am I pushing the cart? All these people are freeloading off of me, So there's that, right? The cart analogy. So, then there's the other one where, shoot, you inadvertently was put on the cart. Like, you didn't want to be on the cart, but then you got on the cart, right? They put you on the cart. And then you're like, dude, this cart is kind of nice getting pushed on this cart. Shoot, I'll let people push me on this cart. Why not?
Well, yeah, and I think that could easily happen for a lot of people, right? Because let's say that you vote against the cart, but you would be stupid not to take advantage of the cart while it's passing you, right? So you still have to take advantage of the cart while it's going by and get on the cart. And even if you're voting against the cart, you're you would be at a disadvantage away from everyone else if you didn't take advantage of what you could. And so you have to take advantage of what you can, no matter what the situation, even if you're voting against it. And eventually, I think they're just building the cart so that it's so big that it's going to be difficult to get off.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's like, having a child. You get the child tax credit, whatever, qualify or whatever. But it's funny. Or let's see, what else do you get? Whatever stimmy checks. I saw them come, and I see them as inflationary. I wish there was none of those checks, because guess what? Stuff's going to cost more than the difference of the extra money you're getting and inflation is pretty much permanent, right? So, I'm looking at the long term. People are like, oh, it's good to get that. I'm like, no, it's not, because it's causing everything to cost more, and it's going to cost more than the difference of the extra money you're getting in the long run. It's like the gift that keeps on giving,
Well, they're teaching people that inflation is good. I mean, they even teach, a certain amount of inflation is good. And so people are under this misconception that there should be inflation when there shouldn't be. Inflation steals from savers. It's theft. Bottom line, period. Inflation is theft. There doesn't need to be inflation. And yet, that's all part of their policy now, especially the Democrats. I don't know, have you heard of MMP? Mike Papa, MMP, monetary policy?
No, I've never heard of it. But yeah, I know where you're going with this. I mean, it's literally rewarding bad behavior. People that are financially irresponsible, or just people, it's funny, like I say in general, everybody who's just irresponsible, somehow they just are isolated from consequences. And now they're actually benefiting. Like I said, I'm not demonizing. I mean, I'm sure people listening out here may have leased a car. Leasing a car is not usually the most financially smart thing to do, right? It's not as good as buying, and it's better to keep an old car and pay it off. Okay, whatever. But literally, people that leased a car this time, they're better off. They're getting calls, we'll take back your car for as much or even more than what they bought it for. Crazy stuff like that. It's going to teach them, this is good what I'm doing. Or, let's say no money down on something, on a house, and then you're making all this extra money. They're actually conditioning people to think that borrowing is like you win by doing it. Well, actually, they are winning, though. Sorry to kind of hijack what you were saying, but they actually are winning. They're actually being rewarded for it. So who's the dumb one, the saver?
Well, exactly, and that's what I'm talking about, is the system set up to punish savers, and the whole concept of our society is changing to where ownership is something that is less and less. Like, let's talk about software, for example. We're a bunch of radio nerds here, right? So if you think about software, all the software companies are going to cloud-based models and subscription models. It's harder and harder to own a piece of software. I just recently, I'm into photography, so I got tired of being on the Adobe bandwagon, so I finally cut the cord with Adobe and found alternative software for my picture editing and also for movie editing, and just everything, leasing cars, subscription to software, subscription to this, subscription to that. Everything is subscription-based now, even books. You buy an e-book and you can't resell it, even though when you buy a paper book, you can resell it. I mean, just the whole concept of ownership is going away.
Yeah, copy. Well, it is, but think about it. The third world countries are creative. Like in, let's say you go to Philippines or something, they get all this pirated stuff. So, if we get poor enough, it won't really serve them well. They'll have to cut the cost of things to make it worth it. You could use an Office 2000, Office. You could win Windows 10 or Windows 7. Windows 7 with Office 2000 all day long, right? What's the problem? Look at Greg. He's got a 9-year-old MacBook. Hey, Greg. He's standing by, leaning back, listening. I see you.
Enjoying the conversation.
I agree with you that Windows 7 and there's got to be innovation, right? And the whole model for innovation is about not owning.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I'm saying we're so wealthy here that like we can cut half of the stuff and like it will still be fine. We got so much. Like we could be on iPhone 10s, we could be on iPhone 8s, fine. It's funny. I'm in the wireless industry, like Wi-Fi. And the latest technology is Wi-Fi 6. 802.11ax. But the difference between AX and AC is so small that the truth is it's not worth it to upgrade. So some of the people are having a hard time now. The manufacturers are actually having a hard time justifying getting people to make the expense, businesses to make the expense to upgrade their existing, let's say, Wave 1, 802.11ac Wave 1 access point to an AX access point. There's only an incremental difference in performance. It's not even really worth it. Same with like I have a 4K TV, nothing special. It's not a real high-end one, but it's like, do you need to? It's not worth upgrading anymore. Like the stuff's already good enough. So I think people, got to wake up and say, you know what? I mean, what you got is good enough. How about taking a little break, not spending as much on stuff? Instead of buying everything 1 year, spread it out to 2 years. Instead of 2 years, go 4 years. But like you're back to like not owning things at all. I hear you though. They get you on that. But then maybe you just don't do it at all. I don't know.
So, I would be happy with my iPhone 7 except I took it on a scuba dive with me, and so I had to replace it finally, but I was totally happy with it. But I hear you. The main issue, though, is that, you say that we're so rich here in this country versus other countries. There's going to be a day of reckoning because this little economy is a closed market bubble. And eventually, we're going to run out of stuff, and we're going to have to be competitive with the rest of the world. So I see there's going to be a day of reckoning. And the sooner that we start focusing on buying power instead of dollars, the better. Because if we just keep inflating dollars and deluding ourselves into thinking that we're richer by inflating dollars as opposed to maybe making less dollars but focusing our economy on increasing buying power, and that's done through a true free market, there's going to be a day of reckoning where maybe China gets to take over, because I just was watching a report last night that it's projected that they're going to be the largest economy in the world in 10 years. And then if we can't compete wage-wise, there's no possible way we'll ever have any manufacturing or anything here, and they'll own us. So we really need to...
They own us right now.
Inflationary policies.
They own us right now, by the way.
Yeah, have you been to Irvine lately?
Yeah, I go down there occasionally.
I'm just joking. Yeah, they pretty much own everything there. I went on a hike in Irvine, this new neighborhood near Tomato Springs. Real nice. And I was just kind of checking out the neighborhood, and it's all brand new and stuff. And the hiking sign was in both English and in Chinese.
No way.
Yeah, crazy, right? The funny part is almost all Chinese people can speak English, so it's kind of funny. Like, why'd they even do that? I just thought it was crazy. I'm like, what?
Well, that's crazy. Well, I know that the wealthy in China are really trying to transfer their money out of there, and Xi Jinping is trying to keep it in. So it'll be interesting to see how that all pans out, too.
Yeah, it's interesting. But back to the inflation thing. It's always funny, the mindset. People that already own the asset are all happy that their asset goes up in value, assuming they'll never have to have another purchase of that asset again. It's like the mindset of like people who bought a home. Oh, I'm so happy the price went up. I say it with definitely the older people, the boomers. They're so happy their homes went up. But they forget their kids have to have a home too. And then their own kids are priced out of their own neighborhood. And then then what? They don't think about that. The same thing with the cars. Like, the cars are now oh, my Toyota Tacoma, my 2018 Tacoma is worth $40,000 now. That's awesome. I'm like, yeah, but eventually, now I guess if it's a Toyota, you could drive it forever. But the reality is, watch, they're gonna raise the taxes on your car. I mean, eventually you're gonna have to buy another car, right? So the next car you're gonna get, okay, is gonna be more money. Your next Tacoma is gonna be $60,000. Watch, in 2024, a Tacoma will be $60,000. Like, then what? Is that good? I was looking at a new 4Runner and it's $60,000. How stupid is that?
It's crazy stupid. But the bottom line is inflation is bad. And so unless we can get society to realize that inflation is bad, again, we're on the crazy train and there's no stopping it. And we won't be able to because the supermajority that you're talking about, which includes mostly Democrats, are on board with inflation. In fact, I was telling you about MMP. So MMP is based on the idea that if you're the biggest government in the world, or one of the biggest governments in the world, you're the main creator of money, which means you get to print the money out of thin air. And so that's one of the reasons why the big superpowers want to be the superpower, because it allows them to print money out of thin air, right? And so the Democrats have realized this now, and they want to use this idea of printing money out of thin air to their advantage. So they, at the federal level, where they print the money, they, based on MMP theory, they are not interested in ever balancing the budget. They say it's not important to balance the budget because we can print money out of thin air. So the only thing that they have to watch, they say, is inflation, to make sure inflation doesn't get out of control. But there is no, and their chief economist person has said that number is like 5% or something like that. But how do you calculate that? There's no actual way to calculate that, and then even if you say, well, we're shooting for 5%, it's so easy to jump up to 12% like what we're at now or something, and then say, oh, well, we're still fine, everything's going good at 12% here, and then we're on the crazy train again. So we're on this crazy train where inflation is becoming more and more dependent on a budgeting level.
Oh, it's going to get nuts. Think about it. The moratorium's done. If there's no more stimmy checks, it's going to get crazy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Shoot, I just realized it's getting a little late. I got to jump out of here, and it was nice chatting with all you guys out here listening. Or let's see if you're still listening. JGI, nice chat with you, and UDD and Greg. I'm not sure. I guess that's it. I think Keith signed off earlier. So this is 86DL.
Have an extra N6UTD.
Chatting with you. Have a good evening. N6UTD.
All right, copy. Catch you later.
Dan, have a good evening. K6EGG Barefoot.
All right, still sounding 10.8 and great.
Figure I'll turn it off because everybody can hear me, and no use in using my amplifier if I don't need it.
Well, I can hear you pretty good still. I mean, your volume level went down a little bit, but I still hear you really good.
Copy. Have you been playing much D-Star? Illegal topic change.
It depends on the day. A little bit here and there. It's fun stuff. They're installing the new the Papa System's installing their new repeater down in Edom Hill tomorrow, down in Palm Springs. So, I keep up on that stuff, and I'm always playing D-Star. It's a fun mode.
Speaking of the Papa System, I'm now official full member. I paid the due for the year, so I used it enough. I think that's fair.
Well, and it's a good time that you did that too, because they have a new policy on D-Star now too. Since it looks like you're committing to the Icom ecosystem. The new policy is that they're not going to repair any of the D-Star repeaters, the old D-Star repeaters in the Papa system anymore. Whenever one develops a problem, they're yanking it and they're throwing in a brand new SLR 5700 Motorola. So it's a good time to be supporting the Papa system if you like D-Star.
Is Motorola P25 or is D-Star going away?
No, they put this module in it or on top of it or whatever to allow it to do D-Star, but the base is a Motorola. It's a Motorola machine that's the base, and I guess it's a pretty bulletproof repeater. They have 5-year warranties on each one of them, and they're a lot more powerful than the D-Star repeaters that they're pulling out. They have a better front end that increases the receive dB by 2. They're putting out more watts. I forget what the wattage is. I'd have to look it up. But it's just I think it's on the it's enough on the transmit. It's increased the dB by 6. So and they're more bulletproof. So it's just an all-around better repeater. Apparently, the way they're doing it with the D-Star hat or whatever you want to call it on top of it.
I just wish that they had something on Sunset because I have a problem. I normally I'm going to be taking the 57 quite a bit, and I know I was listening this afternoon when I was on my way to my doctor's office up in Laverne, so I took the 57 all the way up, and the Santiago D-Star machine has quite a bit of dropout area, and I can't hit OAT or... I could actually hear a saddle through there, believe it or not. But there's still not one solid repeater that will cover that area. The only one in the area that will, Sunset will shoot down the 57 perfect all the way down to Orange County.
So as more and more of us, like in this group maybe, are with Icoms or Kenwoods and using D-Star, if we keep saying we'd like to see one on Sunset, maybe they'll do it. I think they seem to be in an expansionist mode right now, and Cecil seems to be pretty excited about his D-Star upgrade. And I agree with you. I think Sunset would be the perfect spot to fill in all the gaps.
Yeah, Sunset's great for me on, at home. Obviously, I'm right underneath it. But Santiago driving on the 60 also is not very solid for any Santiago machine that I've listened to. The San Bernardino machines come in, but anything on Santiago and a 60 between after Diamond or basically after Pomona all the way into about the 710 area, it's almost worthless.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, and I even had a conversation with Cecil about this because basically that whole mountain range that spans from Mount San Gorgonio and it makes up the Badlands and then is Box Springs and continues west between the 91 and the 60, and sometimes there's that little range between the 60 and the 10 there. All that little ranges block Santiago from the northern side of the valley. And that needs to be filled in because there really is a lot of shadow zones from Santiago because of those ranges that, either are on the south side of the 60 or between the 60 and the nice. I'm looking at the screen now. Good job.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. If I'm not in Orange County off of 57, I'm taking the 60 into LA, so it kind of, it's almost worthless to me. But I could still hit something, but I have to keep on changing the channel like I did with you the other night when we had that car chase, if you recall.
Well, and that's just the thing with, it would be nice if they put one up on Sunset, but that is the way it is kind of in areas too. Like even though they have, 4 or 5 D-Star repeaters in the greater San Diego area, you have to, as you move around the San Diego area, you still have to switch repeaters because of the different mountains. So you might get a shot from one mountain, maybe Palomar will hit Pacific Beach, which seems crazy, but it does. And then when you move a little bit north, then you have to move to Woodson or San Marcos or I forget what the other one's, Otay, I guess they say it. You know, so you do have to switch around sometimes, and that is the downside. But I agree, Sunset would fix a lot of shadow zones.
My entire commute is almost a shadow zone, unfortunately. That's probably another reason why I don't talk on repeaters. I do more listening, but I definitely have done more talking on D-Star. Still haven't talked on the analog repeater. Shoot, I can't remember the last time I have. Well, yeah, I can't remember the last time I have.
Well, it sure is fun to talk on Simplex for sure, so I'm with you on that. But sometimes there's good conversations to be found on certain analog repeaters, so, you know, you just have to find the right one. But it just depends on what you want to talk about. You know, I guess I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm not too, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for here, but I don't want to be too politically correct on the radio. I want to have a conversation. I don't want to be, you know, throwing my call letters out every 5 seconds and you know, talking about the weather. You know, I want to have a conversation. I do enjoy listening to the Sunset repeater we've talked to before. I listen to that quite often. There's good conversation until people make funny noises that drive me nuts.
Well, trust me, it drives the rest of us that talk their nuts too. So, you know, we do the best we can. It seems like there's less of the funny noises in the mornings. It usually hits in the afternoons is when the cockroaches come out.
The laughing guy drives me nuts. I remember hearing it like 3 o'clock in the morning one morning.
Oh, the guy who makes the motorcycle noises?
Yes.
Yeah, everyone, he really got an earful today. Everyone was telling him to fuck off today. We call him Steve.
I don't know how long you've been on there. I remember some guy was like a truck driver they finally found. He had talked about a lot of parties.
Yeah, that was the driver. And he made a deal that if he actually got caught, he would go off the air, and one of the guys caught him, and so he stuck with his end of the deal and went off the air.
He was actually kind of entertaining to a point, but still, it kind of gets old after a while. And that's kind of why I remember for a while the Clara repeater was getting hammered like 10 years ago. I don't know if you remember that. People are like, it's almost turned into 435 for a little bit.
No, I haven't spent much time over on Clara. I think that 435 is just idiot still. I don't even tune there ever. But I know what you mean. Yeah, and you know, I suppose at the end of the day, some of it is all about entertainment, and the driver was a little bit before my time, and everyone says that he actually had some quality entertainment value to him compared to some of the other jammers out there. I suppose I might have been able to put up with him, but I can't stand some of the ones that are out there right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind joining in the conversations. I think I'd say judging by my conversation tonight, I'm more on their page on stuff. But all those guys know each other, so I don't even think I have the PL in my radio, to be honest with you. Most of my repeaters in there I don't, just in case I accidentally bump it in my car or something.
Everyone is super friendly. To the cool people, new people come in all the time. There's this new guy, for example, his name's Eric. I forget his call sign. He's down by the beach someplace. I'm not sure where. Down by like San Clemente, I think. And he just started talking new, and when people meet him for the first time, they ask him his call sign, but now they're starting to recognize his voice, and it's as though he's been around a while. So everyone's super nice over there. What I think, not the jammers, of course, but everyone else, as long as you're not a dick, everyone's nice.
If I ever had like 10 days off, I would love to try to track one of those guys down, because it freaking drives me nuts. I've always hated it.
Well, it would be fun to track some of them down, and I know that some of them do sometimes go looking for them. So, and in fact, sometimes when you hear some of the old timers on there actually talking to the jammers, it's on purpose to keep them talking because there's someone that's looking for them at the time.
Oh yeah, I think I figured that part out. And I've heard a couple. There was the jammer for a while. Because I have the inputs programmed into my scanner just to listen to see if somebody's close. Or so one of my scanners, I can hit like 2 buttons and it'll go to the input of the repeater. But anyways, one of them was like super close to my house. I mean, he must have been within 2 or 3 blocks away.
Oh, well, let me know, and I'll let the right people know, and we'll find him. Because it seemed to me like I wasn't able to spend enough time looking the other day, but it seemed to me like when I was driving through Green River Canyon the other day, it seemed like the simplex repeater was super close.
Is that delayed thing or whatever?
Yeah, I want to find that thing super bad.
Well, I got next weekend off, so I might go. But it's not on all the time, too.
Well, that's the problem, and you know for sure that it's not going to be easy to find, right? Because you know for sure that he's got his power turned down. He is just up high enough to hit the repeater, but he knows that there's some pretty super smart people out there that know how to find that stuff. So, unfortunately, one of the guys who would have gone and found him just died, so it's going to take someone else. But maybe, some of the other guys that do that, if they ever have time, maybe they'll do it. We'll see. I don't know. I'd just like to see him get found, and I wouldn't mind helping.
I wouldn't mind either, just for the fun of it. I've never been a part of it. I've heard of it. If I could help in any way, I would love to do it if I'm free. Did I have another guy die? I think just like 2 or 3 guys just died, right?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 of them. I forget the first part of his call sign. CDX. People seem to like him. It was over on the other. He was kind of vanished over to the other repeater though, but he used to be on this one. But he was super good at fox hunting and stuff. So. I don't know. I just don't have any fox hunting equipment, and I don't know how to do it, but I'd like to try. I do know that, speaking of fox hunting, the Merino Valley Radio Club is having a fox hunt on Saturday.
Interesting. I wish I was available. Instead, I have to get up at 5 in the morning on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. It's one of those things I'd like to do eventually. I feel like there's some light at the end of the tunnel, and maybe I can arrange my life so I can spend some time playing radio in that way. I don't know. I just have to be careful not to play radio too much.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But this is keeping me off of TV, which is good. I'm trying not to watch as much TV. It's just very toxic. And I work in television, so go figure.
Yeah, it keeps me off TV, although I'm watching TV right now. I'm watching some guy who picks his nose.
I hope I only did it a couple times. So I work in broadcast, like I just said, and we have announcer booths And they have like this, what they call a snoop camera, which is like basically what the camera I'm talking into right now, that shows the booth, and they have the guys with the announcers are on and stuff, on their headsets, you could see. And, you know, I'm around cameras so much, I don't think about them. They're just a fixed object in the room now. So I remember one day I'm at Anaheim Stadium, and I'm just sitting there picking away, and one of the video guys sent me a picture and said, "Hey, keep in mind, you got a camera in front of you."
Yep, that's how it goes. You get used to them, and then it's kind of like, you know, that's how that TV show Big Brother works, right? People get used to, you know, just being in the house and the cameras are there, and they forget about them because they're not seeing what is being broadcast on TV. So it's the same thing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, and those cameras, at least in our world, they get sent on fiber optics to, you know, around the world. So, you know, it may not be on TV, but it might be getting sent to an office building somewhere, or up on a satellite somewhere. I got a text the other day, and someone said, "Hey, I see you on camera right now," and the guy was in Santa Monica, and I was in Anaheim. You know, he was in an office building, so you just never know who's watching, especially this thing too. I had a couple coworkers find this.
Yeah, for sure. So, another illegal topic change. How long have you had your 9700?
I got this last December. No, I got it the last week of November, I think.
So about a year now, huh?
About 10 months.
I'm guessing you're liking it?
I love it. I just don't know how to use it all the way. You know, Fred's pretty good on helping me with. Actually, everybody's been really good on helping me with stuff. Gabe and everybody. So, I'm really good at learning stuff if I use the stuff. If I don't use it, I don't know it, and I don't really need to know it. If you know what I mean. I don't need to know every bell and whistle on the radio.
Yeah, it's fun to learn this stuff though. So like sometimes it's like my photography. I just will decide, okay, well I don't know how to use what is this function on the camera? I want to learn how to use every single one. So you know you can't learn it all at once, but over time you can learn the different ones. I was just talking to a guy the other day who has a 9700, and he was telling me how he learned to use terminal mode for G-Star on it.
That is definitely something I want to get into, and I've tried to get that thing to work, and I have not been successful at all with it. So that's definitely something I want to get into. To get back on the learning the stuff, you know, going through the menus and stuff, I go through I have so much equipment I have to remember at work, and it's always changing. They're updating the firmwares. I don't have enough brain space, to be honest with you, to keep all this in, so I don't mess with too much with the radio, to be honest with you.
Oh, that makes sense. I can understand that. But I can help you real quick right now with bringing you up to speed on the terminal mode. All you need to do is download a program to your PC, or yeah, I guess it's probably only PC. It's called Doozy, and if you can take a note, hang on, PA7LIM .NL.
So look up Doozy?
Yeah, it's called Doozy.
It's a program?
Yeah, so the second you load Doozy, when you go to the website, PA7LIM.NL/Doozy, DOOZY. When you see the screen on the website, it'll make everything make sense. So all you have to do is connect your computer to your PC, launch Doozy, and it'll control everything. And terminal mode will work perfect for you. texted it to you, so there you go.
That's for the 705, though, right?
It's for any of the Icom radios that support terminal mode. So that would be the 705, the 9700, the 4100, the 5100, and the ID 51A plus 2, and the ID 31 plus.
Where do I go on this website again?
Hang on a second, let me look. I haven't gotten past the first page, so just that first page that I sent you the screenshot of, just go there and, I don't know, you'll have to figure it out from there, but apparently during the setup, it sets the COM for the radio, the COM port for the radio, and that is kind of the key to the whole thing, right? Because without the doozy program, you can transmit from your radio in terminal mode, but the call sign routing won't get the receive back to you. So that's the problem, right? So that's the problem that doozy solves. But it was fun chatting with you and with Dan and everyone else, and this ought to keep you occupied for a while. So anyway, I will chat with you, I don't know, maybe tomorrow or soon for sure.
Copy that. Yeah, nice chat with you. Good info here. This will keep me, might keep me busy this week. Need special cable. I wonder what that means. Anyways, let's take a look at it later. This is Greg, K6EGG from the city of Chino. I'm going to sign off for tonight.
So if you have the RT systems cable, that might work for you.
I have a cable that I had before that I used for the RT system, but it should be okay because I use it for some other stuff.
Just say give it a try, and if it doesn't work, then you might have to get that one. But I think the RT Systems cable will work, so if I was choosing between which cable to order, the Icom or the RT Systems cable, just my opinion, I would order the RT Systems cable. Anyway, all right, I'm going to sign. Good night. N6UTD 73.
Take care. Thanks again for the info. K6EGG.
I'm going to stay on here for a bit and kind of fumble through this program maybe. I'm a little afraid though. I don't know much about terminal mode, and I don't know too much about D-Star yet. So I wonder, what trouble I get myself into in my radio. But I do have a backup file, so I'm not worried about it, and I don't want to destroy my poor Icom 9700. For some reason, I'm trying to get this to download into my Windows side. Hopefully, guys, this won't bore you. All right. That'll keep me from buying a hotspot, which I mentioned earlier tonight. Package installing. Oh, why don't I just do this? See, this is why I have another computer hooked up to this stream so I can do this. I couldn't be doing this with my other computer. It just wouldn't make sense. In case there needed to be a restart, then I will lose my stream. If I take the HDMI out of my laptop and have something called a cam link plugged into my Apple iMac, and I have that as a source in my OBS software. Gotta love Windows here, huh? Please wait. The story of my life with Windows. All right. Don't F this up, Greg. All right there, doozy. Oh, my stomach. You guys hear that on the air? Or on the stream? Let's lose this. It's giving me a headache. Oh, boy. I got to restart my Windows. Who's all watching in the stream? Who's all watching in the stream tonight? Actually, I can't do this if I'm going to look at... I got 4 people watching right now, so somebody say hi. Let's go ahead and mess with this again. Menu, set, here's the terminal mode. So it's menu. Oh, this is for the 705. I don't remember where this is. Is it my station? You guys are gonna watch me fumble through this. So near Icom 705, which I don't have. Oh, menu set my station. Menu set my station. Oops. Somebody say something?
Yeah, I said something.
What did you how are you talking to me? Oh, you were watching. I thought you went to sleep. My menu is different than yours, I think. I can't remember how to get to terminal mode.
Since you decided to jump onto this task now, I decided to watch because I want to know how to do this myself. So I think it might be under digital DV set. I don't know. I'm looking.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Or menus now too. Oh, DV gateway. Do you have a DV gateway?
So you can see where I was doing this before. See, I type in my call letters. Oops.
I don't know if I would add the slash at this point.
It won't let me do anything past this. This is what I had a problem with before.
Make me bust out a manual.
All this stuff I have set right. We have this server in here. This is what the guy on YouTube said to put in. Why can't I get in my DB call sign? Menu DB gateway set. Menu. Gateway select. I don't even have. I need that set right. Ah! Shit. God damn it. Now I'm really effed up. Damn it, what do I keep going back there for? I'm too tired for this. Set your call in radio. Menu, set, my station, call sign. Okay, I got all that in there. In terminal mode, Go to set in terminal mode. Menu to gateway terminal mode.
Enter a unique ID suffix between A and F at the end of my call sign for the 8th character.
Oh. Ah! Damn it. What is wrong with me today? Where's my menu? Where is menu? I am totally not with it because I didn't sleep last night. How do I get back to my... Oh. That's not what I wanted. Holy crap. How do I get back to my menu? Bear with me here. I spaced and hit the wrong button again. I keep on going to the wrong... How do I get back to my VFO? I thought it's normally here. Holy shit. I don't like that one. Anyways. I am going to the menus, TV gateway. I know why. I need to get out of this mode. This is what happens when I get 4 hours of sleep. Man, I can't do shit. I hope you guys think this is funny. Why can't I get in my VFO memory? It's so weird. Oops, oops, oops. I'm losing it now. Quick. Now this should be... Holy crap. How did I just get out of this memory? And I keep on hitting my camera. Sorry for watching. Menu? No. I'm missing something. I got that right. Function? No. So this is where I should have my memory. Where is my memory channels? I don't know why that's like this. That's why. How the heck do I get back to my VFO memories? Oh, this is frustrating. Sorry for the I get back to my VFO. I want to get back to my VFO, please. I need to get out of this mode. This thing has FT8 on it? Man. Oh, I'm too tired. My back hurts. Let's go back to Doozy for a second. Holy crap. Sorry for, this is frustrating to me. I got in this weird mode. I'm going to be screwing with this all night, trying to get this back to where I wanted it. I don't know why I did it. I got to get off of this mode. All right, I'm going to have to call this a night because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm tired and I'm going to mess this up. I still have 3 people watching too. can't find my Oop. I'm busting this out because I can't figure out how to get back on. Ooh, sorry about that noise. Because I can't figure out how to get back on. Excuse me. Quick menu. I should have my but I'm in DV mode. Holy moly. All right, so I'm going to sign off the stream. I am getting tired, and it's late. So thanks for watching, and I'll mess with this tomorrow. I'll get my radio back up to normal. So take care. Have a good one.